Hello and welcome to your mobility flow practice for today. Today we will be going over some of the key concepts of mobility training and using those within our yoga practice. So learning how to become more mobile, more strong and flexible throughout our yoga practice. Hope you enjoy this one. See you on your mat. And before we get going, I just want to introduce some of the key ideas that we'll be playing with in this particular practice and throughout these various mobility offerings that I have. So let's take your hand, whatever hand you like, your dominant hand, and place it down on the floor. And really press it down quite firmly. Now notice your middle finger. While you're pressing down all of your hands, try to lift your middle finger up off of the ground. This is your usable range of motion and is also called your mobility. Next, put that finger down. Now let's take your opposite hand and pull that middle finger up as far as it'll go. This is your range of motion or your flexibility. But notice when you let go of your finger, it goes back down a little bit. So mobility training is about trying to take ourselves to this flexibility spot and begin to own that spot and increase our usable range of motion. So hopefully that makes sense. There's how far you can go without assistance, mobility, how far you can go with assistance, flexibility. We're trying to close the gap between mobility and flexibility. That's mobility training in essence. So with all that said, let's get going with our practice. Find a nice comfortable seat to begin. It's always useful to ground ourselves before we get going. Take a nice big inhale. A long exhale, sigh, close your eyes. And welcome once again to your mobility flow yoga practice for today. So this first practice, simply allowing yourself to arrive into your practice space, onto your mat, into your body, into your breath. Bring your attention, your awareness more inside of yourself and letting all of the busyness of the mind and the day to drift to the background. Focus clearly on the rise and fall of your breath. Encouraging your breath to be fairly long and slow and round and comfortable. Letting your belly move, letting your ribs flare front, back, and sides. And also being as relaxed as possible. From that place, connect with your intention today. So why have you come to practice today? What is it that your body needs? And allow yourself to move in a way that serves and supports your intention, your purpose. So practicing with purpose. On your next inhale, open your eyes, lift your arms up overhead. Get a nice big stretch. And exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. Keep your left hand down on the ground. Inhale your right hand up and exhale over. We'll just mobilize our spine or wake up our spine a bit before we get going. Inhale up. Exhale, plant the right hand, exhale over. Inhale up. Plant the left hand, reach up and over. Inhale up. Exhale over. Good. Inhale up, exhale, lean back, tuck your chin, hold your knees. Inhale, present your heart forwards, look up. Exhale, round back, hold your knees. One more time like that. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, round back. Good. Inhale, both hands up again. Exhale, twist to the right. Hands come down. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, twist left. Again, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. So we've discovered here the basic motions of your spine. Bring your hands back down. Now let's add a little bit of mobility practice into those motions. So again, we'll plant your left hand down on the floor. Inhale your right hand up. And exhale, start to go over to the left a little bit. Now here, begin to press your right hip down, your right rib cage away from you, and even press with your left hand. Trying to wrap the muscles of the right rib cage nice and firmly in, so fire up the muscles that support the ribs, the shoulder here, finding a sense of strength there, and then inhale up. And exhale over to the other side. So embrace muscularly. So plant that left hip down. Send your left rib cage away from you. Get nice and strong through the shoulder girdle. It's not really about how far you can go, but owning the place that you've got to. Again, inhale, come up. Exhale, go over. Find that muscular activation, nice and strong. And this time, as you find the structure, lift your left hand out to the side as well and sustain that strongly for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, come up. Exhale, right hand down. Press into the mat. Get nice and strong. So find that extension through the left side. Find the embrace, the muscular embrace through your rib cage or shoulder. Sustain that engagement. Lift your right hand off the floor. Finding this supported, active side bend. Nice. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to knees. Tuck your chin in, lean back, and keeping your chin tucked, find the activation through the back muscles, through the core to sustain this shape. And then inhale, come forwards, look up, chest up again. Firing up all the muscles that allow you to sustain this shape. And now let's try this without our hands, round back, tuck your chin, feel that extension to the back of the spine. Sustain the shape, lift your hands off the ground and hold that for a few seconds. Beautiful. Hands back to your knees, inhale, lift your heart, look up. Stretch through the front side of your torso, chin nice and proud. Find the activation that allows you to stay right here. Lift your hands without letting your spine move. Nice. And then slowly come back in. Oh, that feels nice. From here, the twist. Bring both hands up. Exhale, twist to the right. Hands come down. You can offer a little bit of a pull here with your left hand on your left knee, pulling you more deeply into the shape. Come all the way back and through to the left. Pull with your right hand, pull your abdomen in. And now let's try that without our hands. Twist to the right. Pull. Find that sense of muscular activation. And then try to own this place. Lift your right hand from the ground. Sustain the twist actively here. Oh yeah. And then slowly come back and through to the left. A little bit of a tug, a little bit of a lift. Draw your abdomen in, nice and tall through your spine, and sustaining the place you've got to. Lift that right hand off your left knee and sustain there. Beautiful. And then let's just take a few simple shoulder rolls, simple side to side movements, dissipating any tension that may have arisen from that simple practice. Beautiful. Inhale, hands up, and exhale, hands to the mat. And we'll take anything that's in the way out the way. In my case, a bolster. So here, we've been seated for a while. Let's move around our hips a few times, just sensing into our hip sockets. Maybe extend one leg out, extend the other leg out, getting a bit of a release through the back of the legs. And then stabilize right here. We'll take your the top of your left foot or right foot on the mat. Bring your left knee out to the side, nice and high. That's it. Extend your leg way behind you. Toes out to the side. Point your toes down. And then bring your knee in towards your chest, rounding your spine. Again, inhale, open your knee out. Exhale, send it back. Point your toes down. Bring your knee in. Let's try to own those positions a bit more. Inhale, lift your left knee out to the side, left leg bent, left foot nice and high. Sustain that position. Try to not collapse through the right side of your body. Extend your leg nice and long and high. Sustain that position. Point your toes down, square up your hips. Sustain that position. And then bring your knee into your chest, rounding your spine. And hip flexion, sustain that position. Drop your knee back down. So just these are controlled rotations of your hip socket. Take your right knee out to the side, to the back, legs straight, toes out to the side, toes down, hips square, knee in. Do that again. Knee out to the side, foot, leg to the back, toes point down, hip squares up, knee in. Now let's sustain each of those positions, knee nice and wide. I'm feeling that in my hip flexor. Don't know about you. Outer hips, nice and strong, nice and high. Send your leg way behind you, toes still flared to the side. Lift your leg up nice and high. External rotation of your hip. Point your toes down, square up your hips. And then knee to chest. Sustain that. And drop your knee back down again. A little bit of a circle around your knees and your hips. Waking things up there. Doesn't need to be fancy to be good. Nicely done. A few cat-cow breaths. We'll just mobilize the spine one more time. Inhale, lift your head, lift your tail, extend your heart forwards. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your tail. Again, inhale, lengthening. Exhale, rounding. Beautiful. Inhale back to neutral. Get nice and strong in your hands. So your hands are pressing down and they're sort of dialing away from you. So it feels like you're screwing the right hand down clockwise and your left hand counterclockwise. Extend your right leg long behind you, right toes tucked. Firmly press into the right big toe mound. And then continue to press, step your left leg back, left big toe right beside the right big toe. Plank pose, nice and strong here. Squeeze your legs towards one another. Press away from the ground. Keep those hands nice and active. And then drop your knees down nice and wide. And slide back to child's pose. Keeping your hands strongly forwards. Letting your chest drop down. Getting a little bit of a release here. A bit of spinal traction as well. Slowly again, come back up, hands and knees, tuck your toes. Here it comes, downward dog. So in downward dog, keep those hands nice and active, knees bent, bum up nice and high, just paddling your legs back and forth a few times. And then walk yourself up your mat and drape yourself over your upper thighs with your knees nicely bent, head relaxed down. Just give it a bit of a shake, straight from the side. So my knees nicely bent, head relaxed. Decompress your spine. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale to fold, to bend your knees. Do that again. Inhale halfway up, legs straighten a bit. Exhale, fold, bend your knees. From here, inhale, swoop your hands out the side, stand all the way up. And exhale, gently wash your hands down. Another simple breath here. Inhale, hands come up. Exhale, hands wash all the way down. Nicely done. Bring your hands onto your hips. We'll continue into our hips a little bit more from here. Balancing on your Left foot, bring your right knee up nice and high. Right toes flex back towards you. Hold on to your right knee with both hands. Lift your knee up nice and high. And notice how high up you've come. This is your flexibility, but we're trying to own this range. So begin to fire up all the muscles around the right hip here. So much so that when you release your hands, your leg stays exactly where it is. Draw your belly in as well. Hold this for 5, 4, 3, knee nice and high, 2, and 1. Bring your foot back down. So that was hip flexion. Do that on the other side. Balance on your right leg. Bring your left knee up. Find your balance. If you fall out, it's like, okay, get back in. It's just yoga. Bring your knee up as high as you can. Draw your knee up using your hands, chest nice and proud. Find your balance. Notice your left foot, your toes flex back towards you. Heart nice and proud. So how high up can you get your knee? Now fire up all the muscles that support that lift and take your hands away without letting your knee wing back. Sustain that. 3, 2, and 1. Bring your foot back down. We're trying to own these end ranges of motion muscularly, and that will give you more usable range of motion. Again, right knee up, nice and high. Right knee out to the side, maybe left hand on your hip. So now you've got your knee high and wide, toes flex back towards you, chest nice and proud. Find that external rotation of your hip, and then fire up all those muscles, release the hand for 1, 2, 3, 4, oh my goodness, 5. Bring your foot back down. This guy felt that. Other side, bring your left knee up, nice and high, nice and wide. Right hand on your hip for stability. So how wide and high can you get that knee? Engage muscularly into this, and then without letting the knee move, the leg move, release your hands, sustain that for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knee to center, foot back down. And just take a few hip circles one way and the other way, dissipating any tension that's arising through our hips. Nicely done. Moving into a twist, we'll bring our feet tight together. Inhale, sit down, hands can come forwards. Squeeze your knees into one another. Squeeze your outer hips into the bones of the inner hips. Actually, I'll try and face forwards. Take your left hand outside your right knee. Right hand to your low back. Now start to use your left hand to pull your knees. Feels like you're trying to pull your knees off to the left as you take your right shoulder more up. So left hand's pulling, right shoulder's lifting. Find this shape, sit into it a bit further, knees nice and square. And then keep this activation of your low body, so releasing both hands, you sustain the twist, nice and strong here. Beautiful, and then inhale, stand up, exhale, hands down. Continue, sit back down, squeeze your knees, squeeze your outer hips. Right hand outside left knee, left hand to your low back. And now we're trying to pull our knees across, but don't let your hips sway. Just give that a good tug with the right hand. Left shoulder more away from you. Finding the twist. Notice how far you can get with this assistance. And now without assistance, release your hands. Sustain the shape for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Stand up and soften. Just to soften here, flinging the blanket over the ocean. Inhale, sit down, bring your hands up. Exhale, rise up. So find these fluid motions as well as the muscular ones. Inhale, sitting down. Exhale, rising up. It's sort of like you're flinging a sandy blanket, boom, getting the sand out. And stand up again one more time. Just trying to find that calmness within this flow of movements. And also a few times side to side. Nice. And on to some lunges. So from more or less the top of your mat, take a big inhale and exhale, dive all the way forwards. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale, we'll take your right leg back, a long step, right toes tucked, and drop your right knee down to the ground. So your hands are on the mat. Now, of course, if your hands don't quite get there, you could have a couple of blocks for your hands or some such assistance. So adapting the shape to suit you. Come forwards, compressing into that left ankle a little bit and pinching quite a bit into the left hip, but also extending across the front of that right hip. And then we'll walk your hands back, let your toes lift, and your left leg straighten as best you can. Do a couple like that. Walk forwards, compress, walk back, extend. And now let's linger into this. Come forwards, compress that left ankle, left hip. Feel the right hip rotating down a little bit. And now with your fingertips on the floor or hands flat, whichever you can manage, with your back toes tucked, lift your back knee off the mat and fire up all the muscles that support your glutes, your outer hips, finding the strength here to sustain this low lunge shape. Good. Drop your back knee down, walk your hands back, let your toes lift, and here feels like you're dragging your heel back towards you, so it's very active. You're trying to press the back of your knee down, and you could be folding in towards the leg. Maybe your right hand holds your foot somewhere and you fold in. Sustain the muscular activation here. And even when you release your hand, you can sustain that activation. Yum! Slowly come forwards and step both feet forwards, and then step your left leg back, a long step, left toes tucked, left knee down on the ground. Come forwards, again compressing right ankle, right hip, extending the front of the left hip. Mobility practice, a little bit slower than yoga flow, but still a fairly logical sequence of movements, trying to build up that awareness of our range of motion and our ability to use that range. Nice. And then walk your hands back, let your toes lift. Feels like the muscles on the back of your right leg are engaged and even dragging back towards you. Do that again, come forwards, compress. Wave back, extend. And last one to sustain for a bit. Come forwards, compress into the ankle. Feel that front of the right hip or left hip engaged, nice and strong. And with your back toes tucked, lift your back knee. Sustain this shape, nice and strong. We didn't do this on the other side, but see if you can sustain it so much that you could lift your hands off the mat while leaning into that right leg. Find the structure, find the strength. Beautiful. Drop your back knee, walk your hands back, toes lift, fold over top of the leg. Maybe you use your left hand to fold in, bend in. But even here, you try to release the hand to sustain the shape, so not relying so much on yanking and more on owning the range of motion that you've created. That's the essence right there. And then slowly come forwards, step forwards, half lift, and exhale, fold, bend your knees, Slowly ragdoll yourself up to standing and let yourself arrive right here. Adjust your clothing, which I need to do, and go side to side just a couple times. All right, good old eagle pose. We can even introduce mobility concepts into this pose. Take your feet about hip width apart, but turn your toes in, and then bend your knees until your knees touch. So it looks like this from the side. This is called goat pose. Again, we're working with that compressed ankle. And what we've done is we've internally rotated both of your hips here. Keep your knees bent, lean a little bit to the left, and keep that internal rotation of the right leg. Just bring it up and over. And you'll notice that it may be possible to tuck your foot behind your calf because both legs are internally rotated. Well, maybe not. Maybe just put the foot on the floor or lift it. But find whatever shape is feasible for you. And then bring both hands up. Now, since our right leg's on top, we bring our right arm underneath at the elbow joint and either hold your shoulders or bring your hands to prayer. Find some shape that, again, is reasonable for you. Now really squeeze your legs into one another, squeeze your arms into one another. Find the strength through your upper back, strength through your shoulders, your upper chest. Squeeze, and then on an inhale, release everything. And exhale, bring your hands back down to your hips. Again, other side. So strong compression. Goat pose to begin. Internally rotated hips, knees bent. Lean a little right, take your left leg over. Maybe it wraps around, maybe it doesn't, maybe it takes a couple of tries. Whatever, it's okay. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to explore, right? To understand what's going on in our bodies. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, left arm under right arm. And then taking whichever grip works for you. And as you find the shape, begin to squeeze your legs more firmly, squeeze your arms more firmly. Feel the activation through your upper back, through your shoulders, elbows, everything nice and strong. Beautiful. And then inhale to release. Exhale to wash it off. One more cleansing breath. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. Hands on your hips. One more balance, just to try things out. Balance on your left foot. Turn your right foot out to the side, and then try to place your foot as high as you can without using your hands. So this is your mobility in this particular motion here. Mine's right there. Now, notice where you got to. Now try it with your hand. Hold your ankle, place your foot. Notice you can get quite a bit higher. So what we want to do is to try and increase this range. So bring your foot up as high as you can. Press your foot to your leg to your foot without using your hand. And now we're going to try and own that spot. Find that pressure, foot to leg, leg to foot. Find your balance. Breathe calmly. Find the muscular activation that sustains this place. And now, we'll hold your ankle, bring your foot up even higher. Press leg to foot, foot to leg. Notice that this is probably quite a bit easier for you. Find the balance there. And now try to take your foot away from your thigh without the foot dropping down. Oh my goodness. For 5, 4, get it up there. 3, 2, and 1. Down she comes. So similar to what we did earlier, except in tree pose. Externally rotate your left hip. Bring your foot up as high as you can without using your hands. Notice where that usable range of motion is. And now discover your passive range of motion. It's quite a bit higher. And let's try to work with both of those spots. First, the active range of motion, as high as you can get without assistance. Press, 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 knee to leg, leg to knee, or knee, leg to foot, foot to leg. So many words. Nice. And take your leg a little bit higher, using your hands. Press those 2 points together, nice and strong. Now we're trying to own this spot without external assistance. So release the foot, keep it as high up as you can. Hold that for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the foot down, give it a little bit of a shake. Let's get down to the mat. So step to the back of your mat. Big inhale, exhale, fold. Walk your hands up the mat to the good old plank pose. And then knees down, hips down, lie down. And here, take your hands, overlap your hands, and simply rest your forehead on your hands. Take a few breaths here. This is called crocodile pose, I believe. And just feel that rise and fall of your breath, particularly in your back. So you can feel your belly rising and falling on the mat, but feel nice and expansive through your back as well. Excellent. Chin on your mat. Take your hands beside your bum, palms face down. Squeeze your legs together, and then inhale, lift your torso, lift your hands, lift your feet. Salambhasana locust pose. Now try to find extension from your pelvic bone through to your upper chest. So find lots of distance there. Squeeze your legs more firmly together, lift your feet a little bit higher. And then try to breathe here. And on your next inhale, come up even higher and stay there. Nice and strong through the muscles that support your back. One more time, inhale, higher, stay there. And then slowly come down. Flip your hands over, put your left cheek on the mat, look to the right. A passive neck twist. And then look to the left, put your right cheek on the mat, again, balancing out the twist in your neck. Put your chin on the mat, bend your knees, and just flip-flop your knees side to side a few times, decompressing the hips a little bit. This is called fishtailing. And then from here, hands by your shoulders, push up to your hands and knees. Take your knees wider and slide back to child's pose. Keep your hands forwards. I like to walk my fingertips forwards as I drop my chest down to the mat. This creates a bit more spinal traction. Yum. And then slowly, slowly, begin to sit up and bring your legs out front. Give your legs a little bit of a shake. Let's move into a couple of twists. We've done a few twists. We'll approach it again from the ground here. Take your left foot up beside your right knee. Jump your left foot across to the outside of your right knee. Lean over to the right and then fold your right foot in towards your left hip. Got that? Now take your right hand, hold your outer left knee, pull it across your body, and then take your left hand behind you, press down with your fingertips to get like a second spine. Draw your belly in and start to pull that left knee across the body, noticing you're compressing into your abdomen here. Use a fair amount of effort with that right hand. Find a sense of pressure with the left hand, nice and tall spine. And now here's the challenge. Once you've found that assisted range of motion, try to release your right hand without letting your knee wing back. So keep that twist, both hands off the ground, not offering assistance, just owning the twisted range of motion here. And then slowly counter twist the other way, so swing all the way to the right, take a little dip, nice, and then come back through center, send both legs out front, give those legs a shake, and we'll do the other side. So right foot comes in beside your left knee, right foot jumps across the left knee, and you lean over to the left, fold your left leg in, and then take your left hand, holds your outer right knee, right hand goes behind you. You start to pull your belly in, pull your knee across your body, taking the twist, finding that assisted, passive range of motion. And then we try to own this range by releasing our hands, but sustaining the shape for a few breaths. Oh yeah. And then slowly counter twist the other way. Oh yeah, it feels good on my low back. Come back through center, send your legs out front, bottoms of your feet together. Now for today's practice, take your feet fairly far away from you. This will attend more to your outer hips. Hold on to your shins. Lift your chest nice and proud, and then take your chest, your gaze forwards as you fold forwards as far as you can into your hip crease. Maybe hold your feet here. And as you've come to the end range of your forward fold, then drop your chin down around your upper back. Feel an extension through your thoracic spine. You're pressing without using assistance, trying to press your knees away from you, down towards the ground. This will activate the glutes a little bit more. And if you've created some depth with some assistance here, try to release the assistance. So release your hands, but still find the shape that you've created. Hold that place. And then slowly, slowly sit up. Hold your outer knees. Squeeze your knees in. Send your legs way out front. And simply lie down on your back. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice firm hug. Compressing into your hips here. Keep your chin nicely tucked. Back of your neck nice and long. And then place your feet on the mat. Let your knees flip-flop a couple times side to side. And then one bridge pose, feet walk in towards you. And simply inhale, lift your bum off the mat, pressing your hips up nice and high as you can. Maybe use your elbows pressing into the mat to lift your pelvis up nice and high, getting a bit of a release, a bit of extension through the fronts of the hips, the sides of the hips, and then slowly take it back down. Take both arms up to the ceiling, both legs up to the ceiling, knees and elbows nicely bent. Rotate your wrists and your ankles, nice slow big circles, one way, the other way. And then spread your fingers and your toes, and then squeeze into a fist. Squeeze your toes. Spread, squeeze, spread, squeeze. Rotate in the squeeze, one way, the other way. And then shake it all off. Shake your wrists, shake your ankles. Shake it all off. And then lie down, extend your legs long. Bring your hands beside your body, palms face up. Take a big inhale. A long exhale, close your eyes. And really settle in here. Part of the practice of yoga is simply this resting what happens is that your body sinks more into its parasympathetic response, the rest and digest mode. And this is the mode in which we receive all the benefits of the practice, where all the healing and all the goodness happens in the rest. So allow yourself to rest. Feel the rise and fall of your breath at the tip of your nose. And keep your awareness inside your body, towards your heart even. And with your awareness there at the heart, notice any constriction in the breath. Try to offer a sense of easefulness into the rib cage, receiving each breath at the heart. And with a subtle smile on your lips and that awareness at the heart, may you be filled with loving kindness today. May you be well within your body, your mind, your heart. May you meet each moment of your life with acceptance. And whatever is arising for you today, may you be peaceful and at ease. Take a nice big inhale here. And a long exhale to sigh. And thank you so much for sharing your space this time with one another around the world today. So lovely to have you all here. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Look forward to your feedback, and we'll see you again next week, same time, same place. And I will remain online now for several minutes to take any comments that you might have. So, how'd that go? I'm glad you enjoyed that, Sarah. Good to hear. So that was an attempt to fuse mobility and yoga type practices together. And the key takeaway would be to not rely quite so much on yanking ourselves into shapes, but rather trying to own the ranges that we do take by not offering so much, yanking. As always, these practices are offered by dana or by donation. So if you found any value from the practices, your donation is greatly accepted, and not only support me, but glad you like this, Deb. Yeah, not only does this support me, but it does support others that perhaps are less able to afford to attend yoga in person. Yes, the cost of yoga here in Victoria is getting quite expensive. You go to a studio for a drop-in class, somewhere around $27. Yes, this is super. I've been hearing a lot of mobility stretching. So, wonderful, Candace. Yes, it's so mobility practices are an attempt to bring contemporary movement science back into our traditional yoga practices. Yoga practices up to this point, the contemporary yoga practices have overemphasized hanging out at end ranges of motion without any support. Just seeing like, how far can I go? Yeah, it's good to hear, Candace. But we need to adapt these practices, or that style of practice, to be a bit more supportive. Interesting fact is that particularly older, more flexible women that have practiced yoga for quite a long time in that traditional style have tended to get joint replacements. They've hung out at their end ranges without support for too long and damaged their joints as a result. So mobility practices are an attempt to support that. So Bob Cooley, I don't know who Bob Cooley is. No, Dottie. Is he online? I'll look him up. So I'll put this one up. Also, it'll go up on my YouTube channel, so you can find this one there as well. Tend to use your mobility as you age. Yeah, stretching the right way. Key point. It's yeah, yanking ourselves in the hopes that we'll get some kind of relief really is not that beneficial, right? We need to find that strength. Very similar with this practice. Okay, I'll look him up, Bob Cooley. Yeah, some of the people that are influencing me, well, one is called functional range conditioning, FRC, which is an approach. Sliding foot inside, yeah. The other is Kate Gillespie. Sliding foot inside my leg due to my knee replacement. Only managed by placing. Yeah, so perfectly. So the key here is that you adapt the practices to suit your body, right? I'm kind of offering things based on what I may be able to do in my body, but definitely, you know, we're not trying to be Simon Says yoga. It's adapted to suit the realities of your body. If I keep practicing that move, will it increase the bend? I'm not sure. So I would say building strength around injured joints will certainly serve you in the long run. I'm not a physio, I'm not a licensed doctor or anything like that. So I'm just a yoga teacher offering my opinions. So, but yeah, strength training into the joint will usually help with increasing your usable range of motion. So thank you all so very much. Again, any donations appreciated. You can find me online by going to my profile on this app. And when you find that link, you'll find lots of other stuff as well. I'll see you next week. Thank you, Lisa. Same time, same place. Similar class. I'm going to continue with this mobility theme for a few more classes. And after that, probably switching more into a Qigong kind of theme as I develop that practice in my own body. Take care. Big love to you all. Have a great day.